There's something that I didn't know very much about a few years ago, but it's something that matters very much to me now. That thing is freedom. This past summer, I had the opportunity to attend a conference. On the last day, the last speaker spoke about how both his mother and his wife had been abused. He asked others in the audience to be brave enough to come forward, others who had similar experiences, to go forward for prayer. As others went forward and I began to pray over them, I started to cry. And it wasn't just a tear or a sniffle. I was sobbing. It was then that I had a revelation. Freedom is something that matters to me. It's something that I'm passionate about and I want to fight for because I believe everybody deserves freedom as a right. What does freedom mean to you? Let me share a little more about what freedom means to me. I've been blessed to have been born in a free country and a loving home, but as I've gotten older, I've discovered that not many people have this right. Their freedom is taken away from them. One of the main causes that takes away freedom from others is human trafficking. Human trafficking binds people in chains, even if these chains aren't physical. 1/3 of human trafficking victims are children. 5.7 million of these children are in forced marriages. There's 10 million people in modern-day slavery worldwide. And the devastating fact is that only 1% of human trafficking victims are rescued. 1%. 1. A21 is an organization devoted to abolishing slavery. They said phrases like slavery and human trafficking can still feel ambiguous. This is the reality. Slavery is violence. When I was younger, I didn't realize slavery still existed, let alone that only 1% are rescued from human trafficking. But now that I'm older, I realize freedom is something incredibly important and something that I want to fight for. Others before me have realized that freedom is important, and they've devoted their lives to fighting for freedom. Some of these people are George Washington. George Washington fought for our nation's freedom. Another person is Abraham Lincoln. He fought to abolish slavery in America. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for civil rights. And Nelson Mandela fought against apartheid. Rosa Parks was known as the mother of the freedom movement. She's had quite the impact on freedom. And Audrey Hepburn fought to give children freedom. To all of these people, freedom to them meant different things. But to Audrey, freedom for children was incredibly important. She believed freedom for them is crucial. They're the next generation, the future. Audrey was an actress who started her career in about the 1950s. She became known as a fashion icon, and several people idolized her, and still do. I'm also somebody that looks up to Audrey, but not just for her fashion inspiration. Not many people know Audrey grew up during World War II, which was a harsh and freedomless time in her life. Audrey herself said, "At a young age, I was very aware of suffering and fear." Audrey experienced several negative side effects of World War II, one of those being malnutrition. Her body took a toll because of malnourishment. Towards the end of the war, an aid worker brought Audrey a piece of chocolate and shared with Audrey that the war was finally over. Audrey was so thrilled that the war had ended and she finally had something to eat. She inhaled the chocolate. But because of the malnutrition, her body didn't agree with it. But chocolate became a staple in Audrey's life. It was a reminder of how sweet freedom is. Toward the later years of her life, Audrey worked with the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, or UNICEF. Audrey believed in what UNICEF was doing and is still doing, helping children in oppression, children who had similar experiences to Audrey. She firmly believed in their mission. She said, "I can testify to what UNICEF means to children because I was among those who received food and medical relief right after World War II. I have long-lasting gratitude and trust for what UNICEF does. Audrey believed in giving her gifts to others and fighting for freedom and sharing freedom. She said, as you grow older, you discover you have two hands, one for helping yourself and one for helping others. Audrey used her gifts to give to others. She shared freedom with them. I also want to use my gifts to share with others and to fight for freedom. I believe that strengthening my gifts is helping prepare me to fight for freedom. One gift that I'm strengthening is language. I'm very passionate about language and believe that it's a useful tool. Language creates connection, and connection leads to unity, and unity is a powerful bond because together we can fight for freedom. I also believe that serving others is helping prepare me to someday work in the mission field. This past summer at conference, something sparked inside me. It was then that I realized freedom is something I'm passionate about and that I believe everybody deserves. I asked you what freedom means to you earlier. It might mean something different to you than it does to the person sitting next to you. But to me, freedom is the opportunity to make a difference, and I believe we can all make a change. Rich Wilkerson Jr. said, "The difference between sympathy and compassion is action. Actions speak louder than words." Audrey said, "Nothing is impossible." The word itself says, "I'm possible." I believe that we're possible, and together we can fight for freedom. Won't you join me in the fight?